So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay. Won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the, coming for the.
All right, now the mic is on. Happy Tuesday. I was saying, just when you think that you can take an afternoon off after the market close and go watch a movie and just come back and have a relaxing chat about some film, you come back to all sorts of crazy news. So we may talk tonight more than just about the Hunger Games. Oh boy. Everybody pour yourself a drink. This is going to be a wild one. Anya, how you doing tonight? I think, I got 2 bottles of Black Label here. We might do a little tasting contest to kick this off tonight. I got Johnny Walker Black Label, and I got Crown Royal Black. And I'm interested in trying them side by side to see which I prefer, because I've never done that. So we might do that while we wait for a few people to come in here. More than one ingestion is used in the primary. Send one stream. I've got a YouTube is telling me something's wrong. I hope this stream doesn't die. MD, good evening. I'm checking my stream URLs here real quick. I don't even understand what this error message means, but we'll cross our fingers and hope we don't get smacked with the live stream dying. Let's pour a drink before we get into all this, and we'll talk about Hunger Games first. We just got back from Hunger Games. I guess it's about a 2.5-hour movie. And Ms. Zegler is not my favorite actress, so although I do like the movies, the Hunger Games movies, I kind of went into this one with a negative bias. But I will say, after watching it, and gosh, man, we've been trying to get in to see this movie for weeks. I got a lot of catching up to do on movies before the end of the year. I'm trying to get in as many as I can before this Q4 is over. I went in not expecting to like the movie because she was in it, but I will say, if there was a movie that was made for her, this might be it. Forget that whole Snow White nonsense. She needs to play a character like she did in Hunger Games. So I'll give her credit. She did justice to the role, and I didn't absolutely hate her. So if you're not familiar with this movie, the Ballad of Songbird and Snake, I think is the name of it. Yeah, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. This is the prequel to the first 3 movies, which are already out. The story of President Snow, I guess picking up around age 18 and approximately 64 years before the other 3 movies that we are more familiar with. And I guess you could say in the movie, Rachel Zegler is the songbird, and Mr. White, President White, not president at that time, is the snake. There's all sorts of hidden meanings in this movie. And of course, there's songbirds and snakes throughout the movie. I don't want to ruin it for you guys if you haven't seen it yet. I would encourage you to go see it if you're a fan of the Hunger Games. It was pretty well paced. The acting was good. Special effects were good. If you enjoy the Hunger Games, I think you're really going to enjoy this movie. What are we having to drink? I haven't even had a drink yet. IJWT. I've got 2 black labels poured over here that we're going to taste test. One is my favorite, the Johnny Walker Black Label, but we're going to do a little side-by-side testing on this short live stream tonight. Johnny Walker versus the Crown Royal Black, the Canadian whiskey against the blended Scotch. Which one do you think that I'm going to prefer? And I will tell you that Johnny Walker is like, if I have a everyday sipping Scotch, Johnny Walker is kind of like my go-to, the Black Label. Anya says, I didn't realize Margot Robbie was in The Wolf of Wall Street. Oh my gosh. That's like, for me, her iconic role. I know she's been in a lot of movies, Anya, but that is one of my favorites with her in it. Let me bring the chat down to this lower screen here. Tomorrow, speaking of movies, I got a double header scheduled. Silent Night, which, as I understand it, is a dialogue-free movie, an action movie with no dialogue. That's the one where the gentleman has his family or his kid killed by a drive-by shooting, if I'm not mistaken, in the beginning of the movie, and then he decides he's going to get his revenge on who did it. I've only read a little bit about it. It's only got mediocre reviews, but I wanted to get it in Q4, and it's not going to be out too much longer. And I was already going to be at the movies tomorrow anyways to see a early release of the Ferrari movie. So tomorrow, if you have an AMC near you, most AMC theaters have an early screening. It's about 5 days early because I think it gets released on Christmas. The Ferrari movie, you can schedule that tomorrow. So if you enjoy film like I do, couple of ideas there. All right, let's do the Crown Royal Black first. I've got them with a couple pieces of ice just to open it up and water it down a little bit. That is not bad. Versus the Johnny Walker Black. That's got a lot more of the peat taste to it. More so than the Canadian whiskey. Peat or oak, I'm not sure what it is. It's definitely a heavier, scotchier type drink, which you would expect, right? The Crown Royal's not Scotch, just Canadian whiskey. But there is definitely, if you're not a fan of Scotch, you don't like that heavy aftertaste, then the Crown Royal might be a good drink. A lot more lighter. Still a good taste. I guess it just depends on what you're going for. Diana, good evening. So, do y'all have any questions about Hunger Games? We can move into some other topics. I don't want to be live super late tonight. What else can I say about that movie? Nobody fell asleep. Not myself, not my wife. Which is good. That's usually a good indication of a good movie. That we both had a question and I don't want to ruin it for you, but at some point in the movie, Rachel Zegler's character disappears, and we're both like, where'd she go? What happened to her? And so I had to rush home and look it up. Like, did I miss something? And no, I didn't miss anything. So if you go watch the movie or you watched it and you're wondering what happened to her, the author purposely leaves it mysterious. That's the only spoiler I'll give you. The movie was a great character arc for Mr. Snow. I'll call him Mr. because he's not president, where you see him start out as what I would call a somewhat innocent youth, and all of the years of struggle that he went through to becoming the more hardened, emotionless, cold and calculating, vicious President Snow that we know from the first 3 Hunger Games. So again, if you're into that sort of thing, if you want to hear that backstory, that you might enjoy that movie. Anya says it is a Pete in the Johnny Walker. Thank you, Anya. All right, so since I came back from the movie, I saw that we have 2 big announcements, 2 that I've read about in the last 30 minutes since we got home. I don't know which one should we talk about first. The new 8K. Well, we got 3 announcements today. We got a new 8K aftermarket close today on AMC. More dilution. We got a Mullen reverse split approved going into effect on Thursday. And we got the Colorado Supreme Court decision on President Trump invalidating him from the state ballot. And I guess if we want to throw in a 4th item, I'm sure most of my viewers are not in this stock, but MCOM, MCOM, formerly Hellbiz, a mobility company that got pumped by some people a year ago or so. They had just implemented this month a 1 for 150 reverse split, and the price already got dragged all the way back down. And they got a delisting notice today from NASDAQ. So they're going to be kicked down to the pink sheets. MCOM trading at 22 cents. So if we go to the daily, you can see right here on 12/4, they did a 1 for 150. Already got dragged all the way back down. And yeah, they're going to be kicked down to the pink sheets, which is probably not going to bode well for the future of this company, but we'll see. Mullen fell 20% today on the news of the 1 for 100 reverse split that got announced. The vote obviously passed on Monday. They didn't have enough votes on Friday. They rescheduled the vote for Monday. They apparently got enough yes votes over the weekend. I haven't looked to see if they've published the vote count yet. We'll do that another day. But needless to say, the vote passed on Monday. The board approved a 1 for 100 reverse split for Mullen, effective Thursday, so 2 days from now. And the stock tanked on news yesterday that the vote was approved, and it went down even more today on news that it's going to be effective on Thursday. So rough times for Mullen stockholders. I'm seeing a lot of people still pumping Mullen on social media. And, I don't comment on those, but I will say that in the CEO's letter to the shareholders today from Mullen, he said, we got to stay on the big boards. We can't get kicked down to the OTC because we need to raise more money to fulfill all of our initiatives in 2024. And that was the standout sentence to me and in all of Mullen's communications. I'm just reading that as they're going to be doing more dilution because they're not cash flow positive, and they don't go bankrupt. They're going to try and crank out a bunch of vehicles. I don't think it's going to be near enough So I would just say utilize extreme caution if you're dabbling in that stock. I don't think the production's going to be enough to fix the cash burn. They've already put out recent 8Ks saying they only have enough cash to last them till June. And I think it's very reasonable, and not being a hater, to read you the CEO's words where he says we need to raise cash to fund our initiatives for next year. So caution with that one. I still saw people posting today. I bought more Mullen today. So it'll be $9. You know, if today's price holds, it'll be $9 on Thursday. How fast will it drop? Knowing that they're going to need to raise more cash and that they've really pissed people off with 3 reverse splits in 1 year. That's a rough one. Let's see how GameStop did in after hours. It was down almost 1% today. Basically flat in after hours. And AMC was down about the same. Flat on the day and down 0.5% in after hours. Headstock Harem says, what a crazy disaster on Mullen. What a roller coaster ride. Just read the newsletter myself. Yeah, it is unfortunate. And I try not to dip into the Mullen content too often because I don't have much good to say about it. I don't want to just be a negative Nelly, but as we've talked about it over the last couple of years, we've focused on the financial statements and their lack of cash and their obvious need for cash raises. And I've always thought, you know, if they could get production going, it might change the story for me a little bit. But they keep on missing dates, pushing out dates. And I don't know if the CEO is at fault. I'll let others debate that. But at the end of the day, a lot of deliverables and dates have been missed. Revenue did not come in fast enough, and that has necessitated all of this toxic lending and cash raises that they've had to do. So I don't know that I blame Naked Shorts for Mullen's situation as much as the fact that they just couldn't get production going. They missed every deliverable that they told us about. They pushed out the Mullen 5 a couple more years. They tried to pivot and say, let's get out some vans and trucks, which might be, you know, if you got buyers for them, might be a good pivot to get some money coming in. But I heard on another YouTuber's channel this morning, phone call with the dealer, their primary dealer, Randy Marion, that they're having trouble, the dealer, finding lenders to finance the vehicles for the end customers. So we got a myriad of problems with Mullen, and I just think you should be aware of those as you're deciding what to do. It doesn't look great to me. Could there be volatility? Could there be some good news I don't know about? Yeah, anything is possible. Tedov, good evening to you. Yes, I'm still here. Haven't gone anywhere. Let's see what else. So we talked about the movie, we talked about MCOM, we talked about Mullen. Let's talk about the AMC 8K. So I told folks over last week I was on vacation. I was out of town, traveling, doing a little family pre-vacation visits. And so I couldn't live stream early or make videos last week. I tried to live stream, but on my iPad, it didn't work out. We had some technical difficulties. So I didn't really get to comment about the 8K that got dropped last week on the 15th, I think it was. There was a 8K from AMC. First we got the notice that they finished the at the money offering, which is good. That's news I've been waiting for. Because my thought was, if I could buy around this level about the time that they're announcing the end of the ATM, my chances of the price going up over the next couple weeks or months are increased. So I have been buying around this level, and I had I guess said about a week ago that the ATM would be finished last Friday or last Monday, and we got it on Monday. So that timing was good. But then we got another 8K that they exchanged unregistered shares for debt. I forget the amount. It was like 4 point something million last week for 32 million or so of debt. And then another one today, 3.34 million shares unregistered, exchanged for 25 million in debt. So let's talk about a couple things, because I just want to get all of this out there. Maybe I'll do a video about it for those that don't want to watch a 1 hour live stream. But for those of you that are here, let's talk about a couple of common questions. Unregistered shares, is that bad? Is it legal? Okay. There is you have registered shares and you have unregistered shares. Unregistered shares are legal if they're sold under certain circumstances. This is where you need to read the SEC regulations. And you can see the little hint in the 8Ks that they are using an exemption under existing securities laws under paragraph 3A9. And it is a valid legal exemption to exchange unregistered shares for debt if your lender is exchanging the shares in a cashless exchange. Hey, we'll give you these shares, you wipe out the debt. That is a 100% legal and valid use of unregistered shares. What does unregistered mean? It means typically that they can't be sold into the secondary market if and until they're registered or certain other criteria are met. And I don't know that I have the exact answer today. We talked about this a couple nights ago. I still don't have the exact answer with 100% certainty if these lenders that are doing the exchange are allowed to turn around and sell them right away, because they are unregistered shares. But there are ways that you can wait it out. You can wait, depending on the exemption that was used or how and who the unregistered shares were sold to. You can wait out a 6-month or a 1-year period after which you can sell those shares. There is also, the company can file a registration form. And a lot of times when I see unregistered shares being traded with a lender, I'll notice in the 8K that in the deal it will say we took we gave them unregistered shares, but we also agreed that within 7 business days, whatever the number is, that we would file a form with the SEC to register the shares. And then a few days later, you'll see a share registration filing. Now, that wording was not in today's 8K to my knowledge, or the one from last week. So I don't know how soon they're going to be able to dump those shares. Some of us are hopeful, like, hey, if they're taking these shares right now and they have to hold on to them for a while, maybe the lender is hopeful that they can make a return on these shares at some point in the future. That's something that we'd all like to know, right? Are these lenders taking these shares because they think that in the future they can get more for them in a run-up? So I really want to know the answer to that. If you are a SEC securities attorney or have previous experience working on Wall Street, which I don't, then feel free to chime in and clue us in. But I have reached out to several attorneys, and I'm trying to get that answer for myself. And when I do, I'll share it with you guys. Now, so there's no problem with them exchanging unregistered shares. You're probably going to hear people saying, unregistered shares, this is illegal, blah, blah, blah. Totally incorrect. Happens all the time. Easily Googleable. Go look it up on YouTube. You don't have to believe me. There's any number of securities attorneys or websites or securities attorneys on the internet or YouTube who will explain this to you. So you don't have to listen to me. But it happens all the time. I see it all the time. AMC's not doing anything illegal here. Why are they doing this? And when is the dilution going to end? I was just having this discussion with some other traders this morning. They were asking me, do you think he's done with dilution? And my answer was no, I do not. And if you guys have been tuning in for the last couple weeks or the last 12 months, you already know my thoughts on this. I've been saying for about a year that I think the company needs to raise a minimum of about $1 billion. Why $1 billion? Will I be right? I don't know. But why $1 billion? 2 quarters ago on the balance sheet, we had a negative $1 billion in working capital, current liabilities, $1 billion higher than current assets, which is why AMC is in this position of needing to raise cash, and why all of the Antara ape deal. You know, I see people still all the time on social media saying the company's doing fine. We're making massive profits. Look at all that popcorn and merch. No. Look at the financial statements. It's not that hard. Company's been losing money. The cash balance has been drawn down. There was 2 quarters ago a negative $1 billion working capital deficit on the balance sheet. It was vastly improved over the last couple quarters due to the cash raises the company has done, putting that cash on the balance sheet. And they're almost back to having a positive working capital ratio. Not quite there. Probably a 200 to 300 million left, something like that. So I'm looking at that still in a negative working capital situation, saying to myself, I'm expecting a little more dilution. Forget about the debt for a second. You can't survive not having money to pay your bills. That's what the working capital is. That's the primary thing they got to address. And then secondarily, they would like to also, that's one way to improve the balance sheet. Fix the cash on the balance sheet, fix the negative working capital. The second thing that they want and need to do is pay down some of the debt. So we've seen now these nibbles that they've been doing at the 2026 debt, which is the highest interest rate debt they have, the 10 to 12% PIK toggle loans. And it's like $3 billion due in 2026. So are they going to pay it off, attacking it 25, 30 million at a time? No, absolutely. They won't. And the price has been crashed down to a point where even if they sold all the shares they had left at this price, it wouldn't make sense. It'd be too much dilution, and they wouldn't make a real dent in that debt because the price is too low right now. And then they'd be out of shares again. So what do I think they're going to do based on where we're at right now? I think that just my guess, they're trying to take some steps to improve their credit rating, and then they will attempt to restructure the 2026 debt, that big debt they have due in 2 years. And 2.5 years. And I would guess that would be sometime mid to late 2024 that we'll see a notice that they restructured the debt, pushed it out 5 more years. And that gives them time, breathing room, to see if the domestic box office, global box office, increases to the point where the company can start operating profitably, and then a whole bunch of new doors open. So that's kind of where we're at. My thoughts on that. They're doing the right things they have to do. Is it unfortunate for investors? Absolutely. But any of us that bought AMC in the last couple of years, I know most of you that watch my channel know that you own a company that is not making profits on an annual basis. It's certainly not on an every quarter basis. Even though I don't get these people that somehow are convinced, where's the money going? Where's all the profit? There's no damn profits. If there is profits, it's minuscule. So let's just not fall prey to the clickbait. I don't know how these people have never opened up a financial statement in the last 2 years or the last, they focus on one tweet. Adam Aaron said, we had the best Saturday of concession sales ever. Taylor Swift. Look, we're at 1.4 billion domestic box office, even with Taylor Swift. She saved the industry's ass, but 1.4 billion ain't gonna cut it for AMC for Q4. Not gonna even come close to cutting it. So I ran my spreadsheet again today. I'll do a formal video update at the end of this month because I'm gonna see as many movies as I can, and there's still a bunch of good ones coming out, but man, we're getting down to the wire. And even if we made 1.8 billion domestic box office by the end of this month, which is a stretch, right? How do you get 400 million in box office in 2 weeks? It's almost impossible. But let's just say between 1.6 and 1.8 billion, I'm expecting a minimum cash burn. Is going to be a massive loss in Q4 on the income statement with a cash burn of at least $100 million. That's not me trying to be negative. I just am telling you what I think is going to happen. And I think it'd be hard to argue. We just barely squeaked through last quarter. We had 2.6 billion domestic box office. Now we're at 1.4. There's no way you can tell me a good story being short 1.2 billion on box office. Anyone who's wondering why they're raising money, wake up, open your eyes, read all the headlines, not just the ones you want. Anya says, Tony, you mentioned Mara. What a tip. I'm not going to take credit for that one, Anya, but someone mentioned it on here and I gave my comments on it. Kevin says he researched what the SEC does with the money when it places a fine on the company. It says it will most times, if harm, go back to investors. I don't know if that's true, Kevin. I always was under the impression they just kept it for themselves. If the SEC is fining someone. Headstock Harem, great question. Can AMC slash any costs? And I've thought about that a lot. And what I've said in my Discord is, here's my take on it, Harem. I think, they are cutting costs, first of all. They've closed since 2019, 100 locations. And I posted that on Twitter and I think on my community tab also, the spreadsheet, where every quarter I track number of locations, number of screens. So every quarter they're closing non-performing locations as leases finish up. And it's been over 100, so 10%. And I think that they need to continue to close them. Anything that's not turning a profit, as soon as that lease is over, if it's such a rundown location, one they picked up in the acquisitions they did back in 2016, 2017, 2018, just sell them. Don't renew the lease. I mean, that's their best bet to cut costs. Or they could just cut all the executive salaries. I'd be good with that too. I'll try and comment in my video at the end of this month how they are doing on managing costs. They have been, as we know, with all the ACs breaking this summer and stuff, they have been cutting back on capital expenditures. But you can only do that for so long before repairs and maintenance catch up with you, and you got to spend money on that. So that's not a long-term strategy. The long-term strategy is cut locations. Now you have less rent, less insurance, less utilities, less staffing costs. And so I think they're going to try and limp through 2024, which will probably be about the same level of income as 2023, and they just want to survive till 2025. And then that's really the million-dollar question, right? Are we going to get back to 2019 box office levels by 2025? Because they have a shot of being profitable. I'm not saying they have a shot at paying off $3 billion in debt. Let's one step at a time here. They have a shot of being profitable if we can get that box office up there a couple more $1 billion for the year. But if they don't, just because I look at all these scenarios, if they don't, there's going to have to, if Hollywood doesn't help us out by getting box office where it needs to be in 2025, there's only two things that are going to happen. Three things. Number one, they're going to keep diluting because they're going to keep needing cash. Number two, they could alternatively sell off assets, sell off Odeon, jettison some shit. We're twice the size of Cinemark. Cinemark can be profitable at a far smaller box office number than AMC because they have less expenses. So that's another option AMC could do, just slash and burn. But they're kind of banking on the economies of being the big guy in the industry and what benefits that could bring. Unfortunately, they got smacked by COVID, and that plan didn't work out very well. So, dilute, sell assets, lighten up the expenses, or file bankruptcy. Those are really, what other options can y'all think of that they have? If the industry does not recover box office wise by 2025, what else is there really? So that, my most optimistic outcome for AMC is that by 2025, the industry is experiencing 2019 like domestic box office levels. If it doesn't, then I think you need to be paying very close attention, despite what anyone is telling you. And you should be a little bit concerned about how are they going to address this. Anya says, we haven't ever talked about this, but how is AMC doing pre-COVID? I am working slowly, Anya, on doing, we just never really needed to care about it too much in 2021 because we were in it for a squeeze play. And then that never happened. The second squeeze never happened. Then the economy went to shit and interest rates started increasing and the whole stock market sold off for a while. And then we had to start paying attention to financial statements, right? Starting in 2022 and especially in 2023 as the cash got burned off the balance sheet. But now that, we're 2 years into this, I think it might be good to do some retrospective looking, like, how did AMC get in this problem in the first place? And yeah, I have been working on that for you guys. You probably know, and I'll do a video on it at some point when I have time to put all pieces together in one succinct package. But they bought up a bunch of competitors on you in the 2016 to 2018 timeframe, trying to become the big gorilla on the block. What's the financial term for that? Horizontal roll up, I think. Where they basically took on a lot of debt. You've heard about private equity companies taking on a lot of debt and growing a company. That's not what happened here. This was a public company executing what a private equity firm might do. But they are a public company. This was not a private equity takeover. But they executed a similar strategy, a horizontal roll-up, where they took on a lot of debt to buy up a bunch of competitors and try and then turn that into something. But right as they were executing on that plan, right as they were about to hit their stride, then COVID hit. And look, even whether it's private equity or a public company execution of that plan, when you highly leverage and the economy goes to shit, your losses are leveraged also. I don't care if you're a private equity company owning private companies that you're executing taking on debt to try and grow the company, or your public company. When things go to shit, you're going to get hammered even worse because you leveraged the company. On the other hand, it's a beautiful strategy for private equity companies or public if things keep growing. So we had the first scenario, the not so good one that AMC did. So now they're behind the 8 ball. They're playing catch up. I think, even though a lot of people don't agree with this, I think they're fighting tooth and nail not to go bankrupt. Most companies do. They will pull out every stop they can until it is impossible to do anything else. And it is our job as investors, I'm looking at Mullen and BBBY, when you see these things happening, to recognize it, not tell yourself everything's great. Recognize that what the cash burn is. Mullen was a no revenue situation. Bed Bath & Beyond was a falling revenue situation and a horrible lending agreements. Very toxic. Massive dilution, 7x the float over a period of a year. You got to recognize that stuff and not be, Pollyanna head in the sand. This is going to work out great. AMC, the one thing that I'll say, not trying to be overly bullish, but the difference with AMC is they had a stumble due to COVID, and you can see that revenue growing back every year. They're not in a declining industry. They entered a COVID-related failure. And then this year, on top of that, we had a 6-month actors strike, which is going to affect all of next year. So they've had a lot of things to struggle with. And that is why we're in the situation that we're in as investors. Well, that's why the company is having to raise cash. Did Adam Aaron oversell it? Did people interpret things too bullishly? I think there's a fair argument for both, but just like I've said before, and people get mad at me for saying this, the CEO's job is to market the company to investors. It's up to you to be smart enough not to try and reinterpret tweets to have some secret hidden meaning, which we absolutely refuse to do on this channel, because I think it is dangerous and misleading. And just to look at the financial statements or find somebody who's talking about them so that you can just kind of, you want to stay in the play, awesome. But at least say, I've looked at the financial statements, or I listened to someone who explained them. I understand the risks and the concerns. I read the 10Q. I read every bullet point that was a risk. And unlike some YouTubers, I didn't read those risks and saying, they're just trying to trick us. I can't believe they put those risks in there. They don't want us in this play. Come on, guys. That's not why the risks are in there. They're in there so you don't lose your money, so that you're fully aware of what could happen. If you've done all the DD and you want to stay in the play, then hey, knock yourself out. But we got to get better than to be listening to all these people saying, don't pay attention to that. Don't pay attention to that. That guy's FUD. Tony Denaro, he's FUD. He's talking about them damn balance sheets again. I'm just trying to be as straight with you as I can, what I see. I have some optimism about 2025, but we got to survive till then. And the company's going to do whatever they need to do. Their fiduciary responsibility to all stakeholders, which is the bondholders and us, is to not go bankrupt. It's not to deliver you a short squeeze. You'll be far worse off if they go bankrupt than anything else, because the bondholders are going to get pennies on the dollar, and you're going to get zero, just like Bed Bath & Beyond did. So their fiduciary duty is to avoid bankruptcy, and they will do whatever they need to in the next 14 months to survive until 2025. And then, look, I'm hoping that they have a lot of concerts lined up for next year. I'm hoping 2024. And I'm hoping that there's some movies that exceed our expectations and that we can grow the domestic box office. But right now, based on what I'm seeing, it's going to be flat compared to 2023. It's still hella better than the past 3 years, though. I mean, the cash burn has been, it's been curtailed greatly, but we're not all the way over home plate yet. So just to reiterate what I'm doing, recognizing the risks on any play when I'm investing in a company that has negative earnings, because I size my risk accordingly. I don't put my whole portfolio, my whole savings into a company that is not generating positive revenue. Then you can sleep at night. And if you're stuck, I get it. I was not here in January through June of 2021 when people were loading the boat. I came in much later than that. So I feel you. But there are going to be many, many more plays. And in general, you know, we need to get all collectively smarter at reading the balance sheets, reading the income statements, and reading the risk disclosures so that we don't, in a flurry of emotion, purchase too much of a speculative stock. Because you can't really call it an investment if the company's losing money. You're speculating that at some point they'll turn it around, right? And I do that all the time on different plays. Not every company I own is generating profits, but they are a fraction of my portfolio. Anya says, I hope every family will go see Wonka over the Christmas break. Wonka was a delightful movie, Anya. We absolutely loved it. I didn't really know what to expect, Anya, because it said musical on the description. I was like, oh, man. But it wasn't like 2 hours of singing. There was plenty of dialogue, occasional songs, and the songs weren't bad, and they were well integrated into the movie. And I thought the characters were funny. We laughed a lot. And I forget the Timothy, whatever his name is. I think he has a good, he'll probably book some more jobs based on his performance in that movie. And there were a couple of other surprise guests. One of the comedians from Key and Peele had a lead role as the sheriff in that movie. That guy was pretty funny. And someone asked me about Hugh Grant, right? He had a very minor role, so I would have liked to have seen more in that movie about the Oompa Loompas, like some more tying the two movies together, the Wonka versus the older movie. We got a little bit of backstory on the Oompa Loompas, but they didn't quite tie it together. What's up, George? Kevin says, December 2025, good finish. 2025, December. Gosh, that sounds so far away. Star Wars, Avatar 3, and SpongeBob. I'm going to keep on just doing my best, guys. You guys know I like movies. And whether or not I'm buying stock on any given day or week, whether I have a position or no position, I'm still going to go to movies because I enjoy that for entertainment. I have all my life. And I will be seeing those films at AMC. Whether or not I'm an owner of the company, I still have friends that are owners of shares. And I want to do what I can to help. Yes, I do own shares right now. But I'm just saying, no matter what, until this plays out, my movies will be at AMC. My concession money will be at AMC. I'm not pushing AMC movies on people. If people always say, why are you doing all these movies review? Why are you doing these movie reviews? You're just pumping AMC. It's a fucking movie review. I like movies. But if you have one near you, if you have an AMC near you, you probably have enough stock at this point. Your dollars, if you enjoy movies and you have discretionary money for entertainment, helping out the income statement is probably more important than buying more stock, because the company doesn't get anything when you're buying stock. What is my favorite Christmas movie, MD? So we were just talking about that, me and some friends. The Christmas Story movie is one of them. You know, You'll Shoot Your Eye Out. Got to watch that one. My romantic Christmas movie would probably be Love Actually. I think that's the name of it, with Hugh Grant. I'm an old man, but I still, I had 2 kids, and I still enjoy watching the classic Rudolph movies, the whole stop action ones from the 1970s. If those are on, I'll watch those. Right now, I don't go out of my way to say, oh, tonight's the Rudolph night, but on Christmas, maybe when our niece is over, we'll put that movie on. We just watched this week National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's not on my must-see every year list, but I do like to watch it from time to time, so we just watched that. And I think we'll watch Die Hard this year, although I understand some people don't view it as a Christmas movie. Is Home Alone considered a Christmas movie? But yeah, my two favorite are probably Christmas Story and Love Actually. George says, will we get a roller coaster if these debt swappers want higher prices each time if there's a debt swap? I think, there's a negotiation with the company of how many shares the company is willing to give them for the debt, right? So we've seen effective prices of like 747, 760. There's that negotiation. Like we want to pay off 25 million in debt. We'll give you 3.34 million shares. And the lenders got to, from their side, say, however many shares we take down, do we reasonably think that in the future we can sell them for a higher price? Otherwise, why would we want the shares? So George, was it George that asked that? Either there's something I don't know about where they're able to immediately dump them, which I currently, subject to change if I find out different, I currently don't think they're able to dump them right away because they're getting unregistered shares. I think they're making some calculus that says at some point when we're able to trade these, we can sell them at higher than we're getting them right now. So that is my expectation. I don't know if I'll be right. There's a lot of things factoring into the price, George. Box office, cash burn, the economy, interest rates, yada, yada, yada. But if the lenders are willing to take shares, I'm viewing that as a slightly bullish indicator for me. I'm not going to make videos and tweets shouting, hedgies are screwed. I'm just saying, I'm telling you here one-on-one, I'm slightly bullish that they're willing to take shares. And I'm hoping that they're not able to dump them tomorrow. I don't know the exact answer to that. I'm trying to get an answer. So my thought is that over the next couple weeks or months, if there's not just endless dilution, endless debt swaps, I'd like to see the price go up back to that 10, 11, 12 range. I don't know. I'm sure you want a roller coaster higher than that, George. I'm not thinking past where we just went up to. 11, 12 bucks seems reasonable. I talk to people every day that think 20 is in range. I'm just trying to keep my own personal, this is just for me, trying to keep my own personal expectations in the realm of reality. And if they're exceeded, that is beautiful. Yeah, the Heat Miser. He's Mr. Heat Miser. He's Mr. Sun. Yeah. We love that. Heat Meister and Freeze Meister, whatever the heck his name is. The Rudolph movies. What other questions? Violent Night on Amazon Prime was fun. I saw that in the theater. That was a good movie. So was Thanksgiving Day. Another good, violent, surprise, good movie, holiday movie. Wedmore says, if AMC was bought up by a Disney or Amazon, would you expect the price to shoot up or only make a little climb? It depends on what the buyout offer price is, Wedmore. You guys have seen enough of these deals, right? Company X has offered to buy Company B for $2 billion, equating to a share price equivalent of $9. If we got a offer for $2 billion bucks, market cap would rise to $2 billion bucks, and it would sit right there. So what's 2 billion market cap divided by our float? Let's just say at $9. You're going to get $9 a share. Or you're going to get $9 a share equivalent of Disney stock, you know, depending on how the deal's structured. I'm not too excited about that. And certainly, I don't think that any potential buyer is going to overpay for AMC when it's sitting at $1.5 billion market cap. They're not going to, I mean, they could, but is that realistic? I mean, you really think they're going to offer $80 a share, $50 a share, $20 a share when it's currently valued at $6.74 a share? If I was them, I'd wait it out and see if the company goes bankrupt and pick it up for pennies on the dollar. But you never know. You never know what's going on out there. I'm not too excited about any buyout offer because I don't think any of us would get the price that we were hoping for. What is my favorite version of A Christmas Carol? I've seen a few of them. Keep in mind, I grew up in the 70s. So I don't know which version was out then. That's probably the one that I've seen the most. And I do enjoy that movie. As a youngster, I always thought the ghosts were a little bit spooky. And if we're going really old school, I do like some old black and white Christmas movies. I don't remember the names of all of them because I don't watch them every year. But what was the one where Santa is I think he's in the courtroom trying to prove that he's real? Oh, is that the same one where a guy was about to jump off a bridge and an angel came to him? There's a couple of those old classics. I'm sorry, I don't watch them every year. But if I happen to come across them, I think that they're a good watch. These are like Christmas movies that were made before I was even born. It's a Wonderful Life. That's the name is coming to me now. Yeah, I'm looking here. I have seen that one from 1984. That looks familiar. That one, I can't remember if there was one before that. Miracle on 34th Street. Yes, that's the one where Santa has to prove that he's real, right? And the other one, was it James Cagney that was in It's a Wonderful Life? Do I have that right? I remember as a kid and a teenager, like watching those every year because the options were just not that many. We had 3 channels. We had 3 channels plus PBS. And Christmas, you watch whatever they put on. Jimmy Stewart, thank you. Yeah. I wish I could do a good Jimmy Stewart impression right now, but I'm not fully up on that. It's sort of rattling around in my brain, but I don't think I can make it come out halfway decent. Thoughts on political figures trading stocks, Ronald? Not a big fan. Not a big fan of the whole congressional grift. I think that that congressional members and their immediate family should only be able to trade in a blind trust where they have someone that is making independent decisions about where to invest their money. I think there's way too much insider knowledge being slipped under the door, under the rug to these people. They know about things that are going to happen. They know about impending economic crises, impending wars, all of this stuff. And just they're very willing to turn a blind eye on each other and let everybody get away with it. I'm not a fan of that. Wedmore says, isn't Love Actually a little creepy how the best man stalks the bride in the wedding and then goes to her door with all the signs? Yes, that guy was a little creepy. I'm not going to lie. But if you're familiar with the movie or you're not, there are multiple threads in that movie. Multiple couples intertwined by the end of the movie. Most of them intertwined. And my two favorite storylines are the poor guy who, in the very first scene, his girlfriend encourages him to go to, was it a wedding or a funeral? She encourages him to go, let's just say it was a wedding. And he comes back and his brother's there and he finds out his brother's sleeping with his girlfriend, which was kind of sad. But then he goes and rents a cabin and he meets this either Portuguese or Italian house cleaner. And neither, they don't speak the same language. And they get this little affection for each other. I think that is a heartwarming little holiday storyline. And then he goes and proposes to her in front of her family or her restaurant. That was sweet. And the whole Hugh Grant storyline with I forget the character's name, the cute little brunette assistant who obviously is infatuated with him, but he's trying to be, I'm the prime minister. I can't be seen with underlings. Can't be dating the help. Those two I like. Those two stories. There's the other creepy storyline about the guy who's an executive and he has a really hot secretary, but he's also got a family with kids. And his wife, she's a mid-age wife, things are probably a little boring, the family, and you got this hot secretary, younger. And he took the bait like a dumbass. And he broke his wife's heart. That's kind of like the sad part of the movie. But to go back to what makes me laugh in the movie is just this old cocaine-fueled older rocker dude. He's like, please buy my piece of crap song, and I'm living in an apartment with my manager. We're eating tins of sardines. Get my song to #1. That guy just cracks me up, man. I don't know why. Yeah, Bill, is that Bill Nye? He's the start out opening scene in that movie, if I recall. He's so upfront with everything he says. You gotta love the guy. You cringe every time he opens his mouth, but you're pulling for him the entire damn movie. Would I ever do a hot dog eating competition versus the Ape Father? I'm not a big enough eater to do an eating competition. Yeah. Tell the Ape Father if he's going to do any eating video, though, because I suggested to him a year or two ago to pivot his channel to food and mukbang, you know, eat an obscene amount of food. And he has pivoted to food, which is encouraging. But the reason no one's watching his videos is I've looked at a couple of them, and then I just had to stop watching because he's like, watch the ape father eat 8 patty and cheese Whopper. And he shows you this burger. This is a lot. And then he ends the video. And then the next video, yep, it's all gone. Come on, man. Nobody gonna believe that shit. You can't cut the video and then tell us later that you ate it all. I will watch 20 minutes of you eating every last bite. Don't turn the camera off. Don't move the camera. Just sit there and stuff your face, Ape Father, and I will watch it. And so will other people. But you can't do this set up and then turn the camera off bullshit. People are smarter than that. We know you're not eating all that bullshit. Chris says, thought we'd see GME push to 20 this week. I know a lot of people think that that's possible, and it certainly has had a beautiful run. 1344 up to 1858, coming down a little bit over the last 2 days. This is a tough gambit right now with GameStop because on the one hand, I think it's a little bit overpriced, but on the other hand, we got 2 bits of good news that you can't ignore, right? We're in Q4, which is going to be their best quarter of the year. And there is some bullishness about Ryan Cohen being able to invest the company's money. Whether or not that bullishness is well-founded, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just going to say, Ryan, I think you're a good investor. I wish you a lot of luck. And I'm going to be rooting for you. But I've got to see the results. I'm not going to be making daily videos saying Ryan Cohen has turned GameStop into a hedge fund. Not my style to pump this company based on that. But if he does great, then I will applaud it and I'll be very happy. With that responsibility comes a certain amount of risk, and I'm not gonna ignore that risk, right? If he makes bad choices, then it could harm investors. So I'm just gonna take a wait and see attitude and hope for the best. Kimberly says, Love Actually is one of the greatest movies of all time. Kimberly, Kimberly, the funny thing is, like, I make my wife watch it. Like, I don't know why she loves rom-com type movies. Every night, if I would be willing, if she could put on a comedy romance movie, I would just make her entire year. But for whatever reason, that movie just doesn't resonate with her. I'm always the one saying, Love Actually, you know, pick a night, we're going to watch that movie. I don't know if it's because they're British or the story's too confusing. You know, she needs a more simple, just make it funny, make it simple. Guy meets girl. They struggle. They end up together. Deep fucking value. What's up? Deep effing value says, will Ryan Cohen bring back Blockbuster? I don't know. I see all sorts of crazy theories out there. Anya says, if the stock market keeps going up, the Ryan Cohen thing might be good. Yeah. Anya, that's the thing, right? I certainly wouldn't count Ryan Cohen out. There's a lot of people hating on the Ryan Cohen being able to invest money. I would never do that. I would not hate on it. I think that's a very risky, polarizing choice. I will question people who say GameStop is the best investment hands down out there on the stock market. I will question them. If that is your line of reasoning, and you know who I'm talking about, if you're saying that GameStop is hands down the number one best investment of any stocks out there, just look at the balance sheet, then why isn't he buying back GameStop stock? That'd be my only question. But aside picking, I think it is actually wise to diversify and look for good deals. And I think Ryan probably has a knack for that. And I wish him good luck. And if the stock market goes up, like Anya said, beautiful. He's gonna look like a genius. The stock market crashes unexpectedly, and he had loaded up in something that crashes, well, you might have a quarter of bad news. So that is the risk. Treasuries are safe, right? They've been investing in treasuries. Any finance or accounting guy would tell you do that. That's safe. It's easy. When you start dabbling in equities and trying to become a hedge fund, guess what? Hedge funds go out of business. They lose money. If he's smart about it, we'll see. I hope so. Mr. Razier, did I say that right? AMC feels like a dead stock. IV is very low. I can't even sell a call against my shares. I know. I feel you. I've been looking every day. Like, I have for me, a sizable position now. Not as large as some people I talk to on a daily basis, but for me, sizable relative to my overall portfolio. And I'm like, I'd really like to sell some covered calls, but they ain't paying. So I feel you. Yeah, the IV is low. And we just keep ping-ponging. So we're debating all day. All day I'm talking with people about AMC. Even though I'm not here making videos about it or tweeting about it nonstop, don't think for a second that I stopped paying attention or that I went away. I have money invested in the company. We're trying to figure out the optimal plays. And that would include selling covered calls against our shares to lower your basis or to generate extra income. And yeah, the IV sucks. Bryce says my wife watches Hallmark. I think we had a conversation, Bryce, about 2 years ago. In fact, probably an argument. My wife and I. She wanted to pay to subscribe to the Hallmark on demand around Christmas. 2, maybe 3 years ago. And I was like, no. I know what that means. Every night it's going to be a Hallmark movie. They're so damn predictable, right, Bryce? Anyways, I did not win that argument. I think we ended up getting the Hallmark subscription. But I did not have to watch a Hallmark movie every night. There was some middle ground. Gus says, Tony, do you think AMC holds at $6.50 or moves up or breaks and goes down to $5? That's a lot of the questions that we debate all day, every day, Gus. We collectively, the other investors that I talk to and myself, this is not financial advice. This is not telling you what to do with your money. I'm just telling you how I'm viewing it and the people I talk to. And there are a variety of opinions. Maybe we'll talk about all those. But in general, we think that this is a fairly safe level. There are people I talk to that say, no, it's going down to 450. It's going down to 5. It could. All depends on how bad Q4 is, how the market reacts to that news, and what dilution news, if any, continues to come out. But I think Q4 is baked in, right? People, the institutions already know way better than us exactly what Q4 is going to look like. They have models, just like I do, even better than mine. So I think that's baked in. And so therefore, I feel pretty comfortable, like I said, buying around this price. My basis, including the large increase I did on Friday of shares, is right around the current price. So I'm hopeful that it goes up from here, but I am not going to tell you that I'm not concerned that it could go down. I am concerned it could go down. I don't view this as a risk-free price, but it's at a point where I'm comfortable buying it. That's about all I can say. Where are my targets from here? 10, 11, 12 bucks, I think, is reasonable if they stop diluting. I have some people that think it's going to go to 20. I don't know. Yeah, I keep on seeing about the politicians in U.S. Steel. What is that, X? Unbelievable. $16 in July to 50 bucks. Woo! Oh, July of 2022. But even June of 2023, 21 bucks. I mean, that's 100% gain in 6 months. Now, I've been making decent gains on the blue chips that I've been buying this year. I think the best one I've had is like 40% in 3 or 4 months. The last 3 or 4 months of gains on blue chips. I don't typically buy U.S. Steel, although if you're looking for something, over the next couple decades of your investing career, when you see steel bottom out like this, just go ahead and grab some. You might have to wait years, but you're gonna be okay. It's a commodity business. It's an economic cycle business. It takes so long to get a payout in this stock that I just don't typically look at it. Obviously, I have over the past 30 years, have looked at it. But look at this, like from the 91s down to 2002, it mostly just went down. That's boring to me. Has been on fire lately, though. Fucking politicians. I guess I should look into that and see what they know that we don't know. What I don't know, because I'm not paying attention to it. Should we talk about Trump in Colorado? I don't want to get all political on you guys, but I am troubled by this. To my knowledge, Trump has not been convicted of any crime. Although there's been this effort in Colorado to get him off of the ballot for the upcoming election. And I think the original judge said it's fine, he can stay on it. Then the Supreme Court of Colorado said today that due to his involvement with the January 6th riots, that he can't be on the ballot. Now, if my understanding of all the facts are correct, he's not been convicted of any crime. And I just don't know how they get from point A to point B to say that he should not be on the ballot. And like a friend of mine pointed out tonight, like that is a dangerous precedent for other states. Try and pull this same malarkey. This can be appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, and I imagine it will. I hope that they are more fair about it. And, I think until it is fully adjudicated in a court of law, again, if I got something wrong here, if he's been found guilty by a court of insurrection or inciting a riot, just let me know, because maybe I missed something. Mr. Patriot says, is there a way to follow politicians' stock purchases? There is, yes. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can remember the name of the website, and I'll post it. All right, here is one. There may be others. Capital Trades. And here is another. SmartInsider.com. Anya says, didn't he rally people to protest election results? Anya, I don't know that I want to get in that whole debate about what he did or didn't do. I will say, Anya, what I'm willing to say without creating a whole bunch of arguing is I think that he could have said something faster to try and tamp things down. Then you get into a whole nother level of debate, Anya. Why I really don't want to do that on this channel. Was it really an insurrection? Was it a riot when they were breaking in some windows, but maybe they were planted feds or planted agents? Because we have other videos of the Capitol Police opening the doors and they're calmly walking in and just like they're taking a frickin' tour. I have a lot of questions, Anya. I'm not gonna vehemently argue anything because I have a lot of questions about if everything we're being told is true. And I think if you've seen those videos and you don't have questions about if everything you're being told is true, then I don't know that you're looking at it fairly. Am I disappointed what happened? Yeah, of course. Here is one more website, Senate Stock Watcher. Someone turned me on to some of these websites a few months ago, and I said that I was gonna, and they have links in this website to other ones like House Stock Watcher. I said that I was going to try and do a better job of paying attention to these. And I did do one trade based off of this. And I think, was it T-Mobile? Anya, do you remember when we were talking about the congressional trades? I bought T-Mobile. I think T-Mobile is the one that I bought based on congressional trades. They were loading up on it. That was a couple months ago. So that would have been right about here around 138. And it's around 155, 160. So just looking on the monthly and weekly chart, I mean, look, it has done nothing but go up. And I still hold, I think I still hold T-Mobile. Was that the one we were talking about in the Discord, Anya? Do you remember? Based on the congressional trades, that was my first little foray into seeing if this theory that following congressional trades. Let me check if I still own it. Sorry, I don't memorize all of them. Nope, I sold it. All right, when did I sell it? How much money did I leave on the table, Anya? I got a dividend on December 15th. Let me check again if I still own it. I don't see it in my list of stocks in my portfolio. I sold it on December 7th at 155. 155.8 was my sale price. So that's today's price also. So I sold it, December 7th. I sold it about 10 days ago, 12 days ago for the same price that we're at right now. So that's not too bad. I held it for this run up right around here. I felt like I had gotten enough gains out of that stock. It had reached the price that I wanted it to. I took my gains. It ran up a couple more dollars. I'm not trying to time the top perfectly. Ran up another $6 if you count this top wick, but it's right back now where I sold it at, so I'm okay with that. Let's see. I've got a few more. I've been unloading as we have had a great December. Let's see what I'm still holding that hasn't met my price target yet. Apple, CVS, Disney, McDonald's, Pfizer, Target, Tesla. Those are the big names that I have that I haven't sold yet, but I'm looking every day. And with the cash that I have sitting in the account, I'm looking for the next undervalued blue chips to go in and repeat those. Because I was making on average like 20 to 40% in several months, just looking for these good blue chip companies that were either poised for a run up or that had been run down or too much. And then all of them, I got lucky. All of them have gone up, and some of them went up fantastically in just a couple months. Plant-based food. Anya's insistent that I look into Oatly. I will, Anya. We'll look into it deeper. Yeah, and feel free to let's have some conversations about these congressional tickers. If you see somebody buying something like X, U.S. Steel, feel free to drop me a comment or a note or a DM on Twitter. Say, hey, pay attention. I'm seeing this, and I'll look into it. And if it's worthy of making a video or getting the word out or picking some up myself or all of the above, we can certainly do that. All right, I told the wife I would only be on 1 hour tonight, and we're going on 1 hour and 45 minutes. So 3 more minutes of questions. We're going to wrap it up. I'll have another live stream tomorrow talking about tomorrow's news, and to keep it low key, I have the thumbnail as another movie review. We're going to see 2 movies tomorrow, back to back, Silent Night and the early premiere of the Ferrari movie. So I'll be out of pocket for several hours after market close, and we have a very late live stream. I think I have it for 10 o'clock Central tomorrow. I'll just, when I get back from watching Ferrari, then I'll come on live and we can chat about the movie, my early thoughts on the Ferrari movie, and whatever else news of the day there was for Wednesday. Will I be taking the trip to Times Square for New Year's? Laura, it's kind of on my maybe once in a life. Maybe I would like to do that one time, but I don't really want to go stand in adult diapers in Times Square. Because what I understand is you got to get there really early, and there's no place to go to the bathroom. So I did see that AMC in New York, you can buy some VIP tickets, and they have a balcony overlooking. You can see the ball drop. It's a couple blocks away. It's not right in Times Square. It's not the same. I get it. But we already did our traveling last week, so that is it for me for this year. That the traveling is done. Won't be going to New York this year. If there's some VIP way, that I could not have to stand in the cold for 10 hours without any access to the bathroom, because I'm going to want to be drinking. It's New Year's after all. I would love to do Times Square in New York. Inviting Pass says, try the Oatly ice cream. It's dairy-free and tastes unbelievable. Start out with vanilla and go from there. So I will try it. My wife buys for herself the Oatly milk inviting path, and I've tasted it. It tastes okay. It's obviously not quite as rich as real milk, but it's not unappealing. But I have to. I got to get my. Let's just say I need to go back on strict keto. I've been seeing way too many movies, too much popcorn, too much flatbread pizzas. You guys see the pictures I post. And so I started back on my very strict keto yesterday. So there will be no ice cream for me for at least 30 days, maybe 15 pounds. And then I'll try the Oatly ice cream. What else? By the way, the movie today that we saw, you'll be proud of me. We went to the dine-in theater, AMC Dine-In, and I ordered the chicken Cobb salad. No drinks, no alcohol. Well, I am having alcohol now, but we're gonna keep it strict. You know, a little bit of whiskey is not the worst part of the day. It's the damn carbs. The toast with eggs. My wife likes to buy the Hawaiian rolls. I'm a sucker for that. Now she's buying bear claws and danishes. I think she's trying to get me fat. But we're pushing back. I did my own grocery shopping on Monday. I got beef, I got bacon, I got sausage, I got chicken breast, got some bone broth. Of course, we have eggs and a couple green veggies, some Brussels sprouts, zucchini, spinach. So we're going to tighten it up here in the next 30 days. And then we'll try the Oatly ice cream. Jason says, Tony, I like Tony, but then I remember when he started pushing the stock split and conversion. I would, Jason, I know that a lot of people say I was pushing the stock split and conversion. I would just like to say in my defense that what I was trying to do was explain to you guys why the company needed to do it. Does that mean I was pushing it? I guess that's open to interpretation. But it was inarguable that the balance sheet was fucked. The company needed to raise cash. And they had no shares available without a reverse split. What I was trying to do was let you know what was the most likely outcome of that whole fiasco. That the reverse split would be passed, that the lawsuit would be settled or dismissed, so that you could make the appropriate trading decisions. Like, there's a reason why I sold. All I can do is tell you what I think is going to happen. If I'm telling you what I think is going to happen, it's safe for you to assume that I'm probably going to trade on that knowledge, because that's my DD. There is zero chance I was going to hold the stock into a reverse split and a dilution. And a lot of y'all got mad that I sold once Zern approved it. But I've been telling you for almost a year that I thought that was going to happen. It's not my job to tell you how to trade. I just tell you what I think is going to happen and why it is necessary to happen. Because the company would be bankrupt, in my opinion, if they didn't do that, if they didn't have access to capital. Doesn't mean that I'm in favor of it. Doesn't mean it's going to work out great for you. So we got out. We'll let the price come down. got back in. I already got back in August or September at $6 or $7, wrote it up to 11.20, sold, made 60%. Now I waited again for a couple weeks for it to come back down, rinse and repeat. Like, I don't know how to be more transparent. If you want to say I was pushing for the reverse split, I think that is people trying to push a narrative that makes me look bad, which is not true. I said that the reverse split needs to happen, and it will happen. That's about it, as far as I'm concerned. Did it work out? Was it likely to work out in investors' favor? Dilution rarely works out in investors' favor. But we knew that that's what they needed to do, and that's what they were going to do. It's up to you guys to just listen to what the company's telling you. Everyone knew what the company was telling us, right? I don't think we disagree with that. Where the community kind of split was people saying, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to make this not happen. And I'm just sitting here telling you, it's going to happen. They need to do it. It's going to fucking happen. I said over and over, I'm 99% sure it's going to happen. I trade on what I'm 99% sure of every time. And I'm not going to sit through a dilution. It needed to happen. Otherwise, we're going bankrupt. That is worse. Jason said it was bad advice. It was only bad advice if you sat and listened to the people who told you it's never going to pass, don't do anything, don't worry, just buy and hold. Then you got fucked. I can tell you in my own Discord and the people that I talked to, we all talked about this. Some decided to do nothing. Everybody had the same information we talked about on every live stream, except we talked about it ad nauseum in the Discord. Everybody had the same information. Some decided to do nothing. Like, I just can't risk in case it squeezes. Okay, that's your choice. You have the info. You made your choice. I'm not here pushing anything on anyone. Other people said, I'm worried about a squeeze. I hear what you're saying. I'm going to mitigate my risk by buying more ape. Cool. That's another choice. And some people said, I'm gonna swap out of AMC into ape, get out on the arbitrage play, and then just stand out of the way. And those people came out the best. But everybody had access to the same information. Everybody made their own choice. The only people to hold accountable, for what happened is you making your choice of how you decided to play it and who you listened to about what the ultimate outcome was going to be. And we nailed that exactly, what the ultimate outcome was going to be. Not my job to tell you what to do about it, how to trade it. That's up to you. I was not here every day saying, buy more, buy more. Thank you, Anya. People saying, buy more, buy, No, I was not that guy. That definitely would have been bad advice. Thank you, Anya. The people that are the maddest at me right now is because we were right. We were right on this channel to tell you the company is financially in bad shape. You can see it on the balance sheet. We were right on this channel to tell you the company needs to raise more cash, and they will. We were right on this channel to tell you that the lawsuit was going to be dismissed. And we were right on this channel to tell you that the reverse split was going to pass. It's up to you to put all the pieces together and decide how you want to trade it. That's not what I'm here for. I'm just here to tell you what I think is most likely to happen. Wedmore says, fundamentals, fundamentals, fundamentals. I sound like Steve Ballmer. How many times did we preach fundamentals and hashtag evolve your thinking? People told me I should be kicked out of talking about AMC because I was telling you to evolve. How dare he talk about the finances? How dare he talk about that balance sheet? Remember, just a couple closing thoughts. We're pushing well past when I said I was going to end this, but if for anybody who hasn't already heard this story, you know I was buying AMC in late 2021, and I finally swapped it for Ape when the DD became clear and the price diverged enough between Ape and AMC. AMC was at $8. Those shares that I sold that I had bought in late 2021, selling them at $8 was a money-losing play for me. What were we at in late 2021? 30, 20, 30, 40 bucks? But by swapping them for a fraction of the price to Ape, and then Ape running up when Zern approved, I was able to recoup some of that money, and then smartly trading it over the last 4 months, recoup even more. Hashtag evolve. Stop listening to people that tell you buy and hold. That's my advice. That's what I did. I had to break away. I know it's not popular, but no matter what play I'm in, I'm not a write it to zero to prove a point type person. Capital preservation at the end of the day got to be the name of the game. If you're here to fight Wall Street corruption, I need you to have some skin in the game. You're not going to have skin in the game if you're following people like MMTLP, BBIG, BBBY, writing all these plays to zero. You're going to get washed out. Anya says, what about folks like me that still own AMC? Don't want to wait till 2025. Anya, we've talked about this a couple times in the last couple weeks. I don't know your personal complete portfolio situation, Anya. I know you have a higher cost basis than where we're at, right? A couple things. Look for other companies that have increasing revenues and increasing profits. Try and make better trades with whatever new money you invest and make up your money that way. Another thing you could do is sell options against your current AMC position. That is trickier and a very lengthy discussion. And that may not be right for everybody because if it does run up, you have a risk of getting your shares taken away from you if you're selling covered calls. But it's something to look into. Some people are going to try and do I'm going to keep lowering my basis by buying more. And that might be okay for some people, but you're still buying a company that's not profitable yet. So that has inherent risk. I can't generally recommend that, but some people are going to do that. And if you're doing that, if you're buying right now at $6, $6.50, $6.70, I would be looking to trade those new shares on any run up. So you got your sunk cost, right? You got your shares at $100 or 200 or whatever, where you need a legit MOAS to get that. May never get that back. But you could, being an expert in this stock now, trade the cycles. If this is the low, if you're able to buy at 650 and it runs to 12, that's 100% gain. If you're keeping a spreadsheet of everything you have invested in the stock, you could say, well, I just made $1,000 by buying at 650 and selling at 12. I'm going to, on my spreadsheet, say, okay, that's $1,000 progression I made to knocking down my sunk cost, my losses that I may never get back. You could do that too. There's many, many ways to attack it. What's up, Big Gums? How you doing, buddy? It's not for me to tell you how to trade. There are many, many ways to get out from being in the hole. Bigums, you got any updates for us on that swap stuff? I haven't talked to you and Marcel in a long time, and I'm guessing you saw a tweet that he made a couple days ago that maybe the 999999999 swap was because some default entry, maybe that's not the real amount. I thought that was a intriguing, some intriguing DD there. He said, Bigham says it could be a placeholder, but there are swaps for bigger amounts. Yeah, that, I'm going to be honest, guys. I mean, I know about the massive swap stuff that everybody's talking about, and everybody's just making the assumption that it has to do with AMC or GameStop. I've even seen the Bed Bath & Beyond people. Oh, this is covering for Bed Bath & Beyond. Every community thinks it's related to their stock. I'll just tell you that. I don't know what it's related to. Haven't really looked into it that much. Hey, Bigums, did it get pushed out? I heard it got pushed out. And if you have the date that it got pushed to, drop it in the chat. Chris says most folks are down over 90%. 90%. Why cut bait now? Oh, that was a different swap that got pushed. Thank you. Why cut bait, average down and wait for profitability down the road? Yeah, I mean, for Chris, many people will make that choice, and that's up to you guys. Again, I'm not here ever to give you instructions on what to do. There's multiple ways out of any problem. What I can tell you, and I don't mean to be negative here, because like I said, I'm buying AMC right now in this price range. My basis right now in my position is about at today's price. So I'm just going to set this up by saying that. But because I don't want you to think I'm being negative, but I have watched community after community say, including the Mullen ones right now, go search for the Mullen pumpers. I just bought $1,000 worth of Mullen today. My conviction is unchanged. Great things are coming. The CEO has a plan. I'm sure of it. And I'm just going to keep averaging down. I've watched people post that over and over in different plays for a year and get wiped out. The difference in those plays with AMC, the reason I like AMC is we are in a growing revenue business. So I'm not trying to compare it to them. I'm just saying you got to be careful in that thinking and make sure whatever play you're looking at with that mentality, make sure you really understand the fundamentals. Yes, AMC is losing money, but the revenue is growing. The industry is trying to recover. All of these other plays that these people were doing that in were majorly failing businesses. Like Mullen, no revenue. Many of the others had terribly toxic lending packages with convertible notes, Bed Bath & Beyond, warrants. You know, AMC's at least not involved with all these warrants and convertible notes. There's a lot to like about it, to at least give you a glimmer of hope. So it could be a strategy. I just don't want to be the guy that you know, Tony told us to average down. It's going to be fine. I'm not here to tell you how to trade up. I'll tell you there's multiple ways out of it. It's up to you and your own risk tolerance to figure out what way is right for you. But I will point out the things that I like better about AMC than all the other ones that have been ridden into the ground. And those, my friends, those bullish reasons, even though they're risky, is why I am buying right now. And I am not oblivious. I'm not oblivious to the risk. Like I said, people I talk to every day, some have $20 price targets, some have $5 price targets. We don't know who's going to be right. Depends on the market. Depends on earnings. Depends on the domestic box office. Depends on how much dilution they announce. A lot of things out of our control. So I make my bets. I try and size them appropriately to what I can live with, what I can sleep with, and not lose sleep, and then hope for the best, like any play. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll be live again tomorrow night. Bigums, if you ever want to just hang out and do a live stream, hit me up, man. I know the folks like to hear from you. You and I have not talked in a long time. And yeah, maybe it'd be good to hang out one night, have a beer and a cigar, and just shoot the shit on whatever comes up. I will see you guys tomorrow night. We're watching 2 movies tomorrow. It's going to be a late live stream. I don't know how long it's going to last, but we'll talk about the movies and we'll talk about tomorrow's news. For those of you in the Discord, I will be available all day in Discord tomorrow. Movies don't start until after market close. And I need to get some sleep because I want to be up for pre-market. So thank you guys, one and all. Love you. Make it a great rest of the week. I got some plays in play for this week. Option plays, not on AMC. Other options plays into mid-January. And then, like I said to those in the Discord, I am looking for what is next with the bulk of my free cash. And I will talk to you guys in the Discord or on video as I find out what I'm going to do next. Everything else is just cooking. It's just cooking. Anya says, drop some more tickers. As soon as I have the next ones, Anya, you guys will be the first to know. Love y'all. Have a good night. See ya mañana.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine.